Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while. Quick little life update. Recently lost my kitty, so I kind of put things aside for a little while because I got uber depressed because, oh my god, she was my world. So I am back. I apologize for that huge gap, but like I said, I needed some time to myself, and then I also was traveling for a while, so we are back. So for today's look, I wanted to try this new eyeshadow palette that I bought. I bought it at Marshall's. It was $4.99, and it is the Purple Haze Huda Beauty palette. It is, oh my god, just look at those colors. I absolutely love purple. It's my favorite color in the world, so I was super excited when I saw this at Marshall's because, you know, obviously I didn't go there for makeup, but here we are buying more crap that I don't need. But anyways, if you guys want to know how I did this kind of half-cut crease look with some graphic eyeliner, then go ahead and keep on watching. Alright, so first things first, I'm just going to go in with my eyeshadow base, and per usual, I'm just using the Louise. Just going to blend that all over the eyelid. I want to really focus, especially like right up here by the brow bone, since obviously you can tell we're going to bring the eyeshadow pretty high up. Hence why I didn't do my eyebrows yet. Oh my gosh. So starting off with just a smaller fluffy brush, I'm going to go into the color Baked. Alright, so I'm just going to start this off kind of lower, because if I start it up high, it's going to be a little bit too opaque. Oh my god, I hope everyone's okay. Alright, and just using just tiny little circular motions. I'm not worrying about this line up here, because I just want to build up the opacity first. And I'm bringing it pretty far down into my inner corner. And then instead of bringing it into my crease, I'm actually just going to kind of bring it up like that. So you can see on this eye how it just kind of fades off into nothing. And I'm also lightening my pressure as I'm going up higher. Okay, and then wiping off this brush. So now I have nothing on it, just a little bit of leftover eyeshadow. And again, I'm lightening my pressure. If you feel like your hand is too heavy, you can move your fingertips down lower towards the opposite end of the brush, and that way it'll kind of lighten the pressure a little bit. And again, just doing very, very tiny circular motions. I just want to bring this up and just kind of fade away that line. And I am going to bring it kind of into the brow hairs just a little bit. And then again, once you get kind of, I'd say like 3/4 of the way across your eye, again, not bringing it down into the crease, but just kind of fade it off into nothing. And I will say, whenever you pick up more color, again, start lower, just in case if you accidentally have a little bit too much shadow on your brush, because you don't want to, again, put it, you know, have like a super opaque dot up here. So I would recommend start lower. Okay, so once you got that base on, now we can go into Shades in OG Kush, which are just a very, very pretty purple. And again, starting lower, just going to start in the inner corner. And again, just kind of follow that shape and just slowly build it up. So you can see it's slowly kind of turning a little purple. All right, so now I'm going to switch to this pointier brush, and I'm going to start off with Matchup. And this is just like a darker purple. And again, starting lower. And since this is more of a pointier brush, it is going to create kind of a harsher line. But, you know, just don't worry about it. Just don't use too heavy of a hand, or else it could be a little difficult to blend out. But again, just using very, very, very light pressure and just little circles. Just going to slowly start building up, again, the opacity. And, you know, same steps as before, always start lower. Because you should have your pink shadow up higher, the mid-tone, and then the darkest tone should be on the bottom. Don't be afraid to really, really build this up, because you can see here we're going to take off a lot of it anyways. Then going back in with our first fluffy brush. And again, just using tiny little circular motions, and that'll kind of help blend out that harsh line. And if need be, you can actually go back in with this brush. I literally just tapped it into the eyeshadow once, the dark color, and just going right over that line to really help diffuse it. Okay, and going back in with the pointier brush, and now we're going to go into our final and darkest shadow, which is called Lighter. And then again, just going right below that last shadow we applied, and just really, really, really building up that darkness. And just switching between the fluffier brush and the pointier brush. And then I'm also constantly wiping my brush off on my hand too, in case I feel like there's just a little bit too much eyeshadow. And then I'm just going to go back in with that first color, Baked, which was that bubblegum pink, and just kind of go over everything super, super lightly though. Like I'm barely even touching my skin. Okay, so once you feel like that the blend is pretty good, we're going to go ahead and before we put the eyeshadow base back on to do a cut crease, I always like to go in with makeup remover just to kind of remove any excess, especially since the eyeshadow base that I'm using is white, so it most likely is going to mix with this, and yellow and purple do not mix well. It will literally turn like a gross pukey brown. And I like to use a non-oily makeup remover because, again, if you use something super oily and then you put your eyeshadow base on right afterwards, most likely it's not going to stick pretty well. So I just like to use I don't know how to pronounce it, micellar water, I don't know, but this stuff. And you can see I'm bringing the yellow eyeshadow way above my actual crease, so just trying to make sure that both eyes are even. Just going to go in. I'm also taking some of it out of the inner corner as well. I like to kind of spin the Q-tip so it keeps it nice and clean, and then take the dry end and just kind of wipe some of that off. And then here I just kind of like to take my finger and, you know, just dab it away. Okay, so I'm just double checking that both of the purples are pretty even. So now I can go back in with my eyeshadow base, and I'm just using a flat brush. And we're going to apply this all over the lid, all the way up into that eyeshadow. And the line here, it doesn't need to be like absolutely perfect because we're going to go back in with black eyeshadow, or black eyeliner anyways, and kind of cover that up. But you still want to be kind of neat with it. And also just make sure the eyeshadow base is nice and even because you don't want any patchiness. Any patchiness in the eyeshadow base will come through the eyeshadow. So once you get to right here, as you can see, I'm kind of still bringing the eyeshadow base out a little bit. So once I get to here, I'm just going to take my dampened beauty blender and just kind of blend off that edge. And also just kind of bring it up a little bit onto the purple. So that way it just also kind of helps it fade out. Especially if you had, you know, if you were struggling trying to get this to just fade out into nothing. This is kind of a good way to blend out that eyeshadow. Actually, I'm going to bring the base up just a little bit higher. You can see before how it started kind of, the purple is coming more of a shape like this, where again, I want it to kind of go up like that way. If that makes sense, hopefully. Just bringing the base up, going back in with my beauty blender. Okay, so that's good for now. Again, we can go back in with more eyeshadow and kind of fix that later. But I just want to get rid of these creases here. Okay, so keeping my eyelids shut because I don't want to create more creases. I'm going to go in with a clean, flat brush, and we're going to go into the color Keef, which is this beautiful bright yellow. And I have the majority of the eyeshadow on the tip of the brushes, or the tip of the bristles, because I really want to press this pigment into the base. Plus, keeping the eyeshadow on the very tip of the bristles also kind of helps it not blend with this purple up here. Because I know before, when I first started doing cut creases, like years ago, that was one of the biggest struggles I had. Just working along the crease first. Just really packing that eyeshadow on. And the yellow you can bring pretty far down because we're going to mix it with the orange anyways. And then before we go in and blend, I'm going to go into the orange, which is called Faded. And as you can see on this eye, everything's very almost horizontal instead of going vertical and bringing the eyeshadows and blending it that way. I like to have it go kind of diagonally. I just think it creates a prettier look. It's very elongated. Again, don't worry about blending. We're just trying to get the colors on right now. Okay, so now going in with a larger fluffy brush, I'm going to dip back into the yellow and just kind of start blending these two together. And the reason why I'm dipping into the yellow is because the orange is darker. So if I dip into the orange, I'm afraid it might bring too much orange into the yellow. All right, so I'm wiping off the majority of it on my hand. And once this part is nice and blended. This is where I'm just going to kind of take whatever's left over on the brush and just slowly start building this up and kind of blending that into this purple here. I'm going to grab just a little bit more yellow. And now going back into the orange, kind of bringing that up and out. And you can see here I'm kind of just stamping it and pulling. And that'll give you that nice, beautiful gradient that you want. And again, just wiping off the brush on my hand. We're going to go back into that bubblegum pink baked. I'm literally just going to tap it once, knock off the excess, and again with a very light pressure, just start connecting those two. Especially when you're working with complementary colors, like yellow and purple, you have to kind of think of color theory, because if you just blend the yellow with the purple, again, it's going to turn kind of like a weird brown. So having the orange and the pink kind of act as filler colors right in here will help just blend everything and kind of mush it all together. And then now I'm still using the same flat brush. I'm going to go back into the color Lighter, which was the darkest shadow on this palette. It's like almost like a super dark purple. And since this is a flat brush, again, you can see the product's mostly just on the tip of the bristles, and I'm just going to keep following the diagonal line and just kind of bring that on the outer V just to deepen up the eyeshadow look a little bit. Then we'll go back in with our first little fluffy brush. And since I don't want the eyeshadow to come down any further, so I'm going to, when I do little circles, I'm bringing it in towards instead of going this way. So you can see, again, going inwards towards the eye. Grabbing a little bit more orange just so we can get rid of that line. So now I'm just kind of going around the whole eye, filling in any like gaps that I see or anything that needs to be blended a little bit more. All right, and then just for a quick brow bone highlight, I'm going to go into the color Indica. It's just this really pretty like lavender iridescent. And I'm just popping that just right here, and then just a little in the inner corner of the brow, because why not? All right, then just to deepen this outer corner just a tiny bit more, I'm going in with a black eyeshadow, because I don't want it to be like a hardcore winged eyeliner. I just want it to kind of just be a little smoked. I'm going to kind of follow the lines of a winged eyeliner. Just bring that along the lash line. Not completely, but maybe just like halfway. Plus, especially if you're doing a bolder look and you're not going to be wearing eyeshadow or eyeliner, I recommend just kind of smoking some black eyeshadow just so it kind of helps hide the lash band. And then I'm just going to bring all the eyeshadows down onto the lower lash line. To get the yellow to be pretty bright in the inner corner, I like to take the eyeshadow base and just bring it down onto that lower lash line. And then just the very last thing for the eyes is I'm just going to take the NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk, which is just a white color, and just put some white onto the waterline. You guys, I thought I was filming this whole time. Oh my god. Well, anyways, the last step is to put this black eyeliner on, which I still need to make it a little bit thicker, so bear with me. Whenever you're doing graphic liner, honestly, I like to use just paintbrushes, and I prefer a longer bristled one because that way I feel like you have a little bit more mobility with it. Okay, now I'm gonna go put on my eyelashes, my eyebrows, and I will be back with the finished look. All right, you guys, and here is the final and finished look. The last thing I did was I just put on some Huda Beauty lipstick. It was just like a nude color, and then I also topped it with MAC's Dazzle Glass. It was in color Money Honey, which is just like a pretty like pink and gold reflux. I will say overall, so like I said in the beginning, I bought this palette at Marshall's, and I think it was like $4.99. And obviously, you know, retail price, it's a little bit more than that. But I absolutely enjoyed that palette so much. I think the color range is absolutely perfect, and especially somebody like me who absolutely loves purple, I am in heaven. Plus, the color payout was super nice. There wasn't a lot of fallout. I will say, ignore right here. This was 100% my fault. I didn't realize I had black eyeshadow right here. And yeah, I obviously got that and tried to wipe it away, and that did not work. So other than that, I absolutely love this look so much. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Let me know what you guys think of this look down in the comments down below. All right, until the next one, bye!